Yeah. Oh
The
man.
ice cream, I like the ice cream too. Usually I
Yeah.
don't really like the ice cream like that, but that ice cream was good too.
Boy.
Just saying, put it out there.
God dang.
Put my candy at the bottom, ice cream on top of it, put another layer of candy, ice cream on top of that.
Oh heck no. Jeez. Oh, they was hooking it up. They was hooking it up. Yeah. Man. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna just go ahead and get started. I think we're good. I think, if this is what we got, this is what we got. We're gonna dive into this conversation, okay? So my name is Isaiah Coleman, and I am the Director of Athletics at Morristown Friends School, which is right down the road from here, about 10 minutes away, Quaker School. And we're gonna talk about how intentional connection, internal optimization can lead to the advancement of our communities. All right, so before we do anything, I done heard y'all talk about ice cream and cake and all these different foods and all these snacks. I don't want y'all falling asleep in here, I ain't gonna lie. So, you know what I mean? I don't need y'all catching that 2:30 feeling on me. So I'm gonna ask you guys, if you don't mind, could everybody get up out of their seats really quick? And I'm gonna just take y'all through a really quick stretch. My wife is a yogi, so I kind of took some of these moves from her, but we'll see how we do. So just first start out with your hands at your side, spine erect, chest out. And we're gonna bring our hands up from our side, up over our heads. Very nice, good, 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 good. And we're gonna stay right here in a mountain pose. And we're gonna take a very deep breath in, inhale, hold it, and let it out. We're gonna bring our hands back down to our sides. We're now gonna put our hands behind our back and interlock our fingers, all right? Keeping our chest up. We're gonna roll our shoulders back, and we're gonna send our hands up toward the back of our heads, all right? Yep, get a good, nice stretch in the upper part of your back, as far as you can, Good, hold it for a second, and bring it back down. Good job, good job. Keep your hands interlocked behind your back, and you're gonna send your right ear to your right shoulder. Good, and just stretch out your neck a little bit. And then we're gonna send our left ear over to our left shoulder. Good work. Awesome. Now you can let go of your fingers, let go of your hands. You can shake your arm out, shake your left arm out. We're gonna bring our arms up to a 90-degree angle, and we're just gonna do some body twist, okay? We're just gonna do some trunk twist. So we're just gonna go to our right. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good work, y'all. All right, here we go. And then we're just gonna shake out our right legs. Good, get it all out. We're gonna shake out our left leg. Good stuff. All right, guys, you can have a seat. Thank you so much for doing that with me. Again, I gotta make sure y'all gonna stay awake. This is the afternoon session. This is the afternoon after lunch, okay? I'd just like to say thank you, of course, to the NJEA, of course, to Deshaun or Dr. Bashir, to all the event staff, if that's anybody here in this room, but of course to you all, because you all have entrusted me with your time. So thank you so much. I really, honestly, am honored, and I don't take it for granted. So thank you for choosing this session. My name again is Isaiah Coleman, and again, I'm the Director of Athletics at Morristown Friends School. These are the schools that I've had the privilege of serving at over the last almost decade. Morristown Friends School here in South Jersey. Cannon School is down in Concord, North Carolina. And Christina Sykes Academy, which is right up the road in Trenton, New Jersey. I gotta say, man, all of these schools have given me so much wisdom and have basically refined my skills as a leader and as an educator. One thing about all three of these schools as well is that they're all independent schools. None of these schools are public schools. However, I am a product of public school. I graduated from Lawrence High School up in Mercer County. And I also lead some mentorship programs outside of my 9 to 5. I do a connected group. So I go around to different schools in Mercer County, and I teach kids about the importance of being self-aware, about being aligned and becoming their most authentic selves. And so I feel like, and I mention that because with the independent school expertise that I've gotten, along with the mentorship programming that I've done, I feel like I got a good understanding or well-roundedness about what students love or what students appreciate and enjoy. And that is an environment in which they can learn. Like kids love to learn. If you create the environment for students, they love to learn, they love the structure, and they'll come out even better on the other side, okay? So our learning outcomes. Let's talk about our learning outcomes. Number one, we're gonna identify our growth areas so we can become better or more effective educators. That's key. So please, I hope everybody came in here with a growth mindset. I hope everybody came in here ready to learn something new or figure out how you can enhance a skill that you already have. Let's recognize our distinct superpower, right? I'm a firm believer that God, creator, the universe has given us all a distinct gift. And it's on us on how to cultivate that gift and also help our kids, our students, find their gifts as well. So let's recognize our distinct power in here today. Connect more deeply with your community. Man, I've heard some very, very dope educators this morning. And I heard them speak about how they go out of their way in the summertime. I mean, in a time where you don't need to rock with the kids. You don't need to do anything. Calling families, checking in, seeing how a student is doing, going out of their way to go to a student's rehearsal, right? When they don't have to, right? It's not happening on campus, but they go see a student's competition and things like that. So we're going to talk about ways. You guys are going to walk away with ways on how to connect more deeply with your communities, okay? Community norms, ask questions. Please, I don't want to talk the entire time. I already have some activities embedded into this presentation where you guys are going to connect with one another, but ask questions throughout. Be where your feet are. These things right here, boy, oh boy, they ruin some relationships. Let me be honest with y'all. All right, so just do your best if you can to keep your phones down, be where your feet are, right? Let's be present in this space. And then lastly, be imaginative. Be imaginative. The whole reason why we're here today is radical imagination, right? I love this morning how Dr. Love talked about dreaming big, especially when it comes to reparations. She said $2 trillion. I'm like, I don't know if the government's ever going to give us $2 trillion, but if they were to, that'd be amazing for us, for our community. Come on.
If we can give all that money to, what's his name? The Tesla guy?
To ICE, come on, Project 2025.
That never are completed.
All this money is going to the military. All this money is going to ICE, where they're taking money away from the Department of Ed and all these other different departments that they're closing down. So, you know what I mean? So let's have an imagination while we're in this space, especially when we start interacting with one another. Raise your hand if you're a world changer. Raise your hand if you're a world changer, right? So everybody in this space, for the most part, we got, be present. Raise your hand if you want to impact the world. Raise your hand if you want to impact the world, right? I'm curious too about this quote right here. What comes to mind when you read this quote? What do you think about when you read this quote?
We should be lifelong learners, continue to try to make ourselves better.
Yep. That's good. That's good. Yep, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I think about Michael Jackson's song. I think about
Yeah,
it too.
yeah.
You know, like the change starts with us.
Right.
Before we can, because it's, I'm sorry. Sometimes when there's a situation, we often look at what's wrong or what the other person did.
Yeah.
Instead of looking at ourselves and how we impacted the situation or
Yeah.
how we may have escalated things, right?
Yeah.
And instead of taking the time to maybe just play a different role. Right? So I think about that.
Yep.
And,
That's good. That's good. Yeah. That's really good. Anybody else got anything they want to share? Yes, ma'am.
Well, as I said, I'm retired. But as I get older, I find myself, there comes a little trepidation about change.
Okay.
As you get older, you get used to what you're familiar with and whatnot. And I find myself forcing myself to change.
Right.
To
Right.
do something
Right.
new, to do something different, so I don't just disappear into a pool of what I always did.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, change means actively bringing change or seeking change in your life.
That's right. That's right. I love what you just said just now because I think change is is constant. You always have to change, especially as you get older. You have to keep reinventing yourself if you're going to stay relevant, right? I see it with folks who are in music industry, stuff like that. Like as you get older, are you still the same? You can't be the same person that you were or that, you know, made you famous and things like that. So I hear what you're saying and I love it. It makes me think about how we need to actively play our own role if we want to see change. We can't sit around and expect change to happen if we're not getting in the game and off of the sideline, right? I think about my relationships with people, and I love my wife, I love my children, I love my friends, my close friends, and there are things about them that also get on my nerves and, you know, can get on my last nerve, for example, right? And instead of me asking them, hey, can you not do this anymore because it annoys the heck out of me? Instead, I should change my relationship with whatever that thing is that they're doing. I should change my perspective on that thing and not get all up in arms or frustrated or, you know, react to it. So I feel like if we want to see a world or we want to see a community or we want to see our classroom or our students change, we need to be a part of that change. We got to get off the sideline. Okay. So that's what I hear. That's what I see when I read this quote. Okay. So again, we're here to talk about internal optimization. And before we really get into like internal optimization, I'm curious to hear from you all, what's internal mean? Before we get into the whole thing, what does internal mean? Within, right? Self. Say it one more time. Inside, within, self, right? Ourselves. Absolutely. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Optimization. What does optimization mean? Growth, the most, the best. Yep. I found it on Google and it said to make the most perfect, functional, or effective thing as possible, right? So like basically becoming the best version of yourself, right? So like self-improvement is what I get when I think about internal optimization. So I love internal optimization, but it requires a level of self-awareness. It requires a level of us figuring out or us taking a deep dive in ourselves and self-reflecting on what are the things that I need to do in order to become the best version of myself. Do I need to heal? Do I need to learn a new skill? Do I need to learn some new information? Do I need to communicate more or communicate more effectively? Do I need to be more empathetic with the individuals that I impact on a day-to-day basis? So I want you to think about that. I want you to think about it from that lens, from a educational lens. We need to be self-aware so that we can self-correct and we can eventually be self-actualized. So I have an example here. Has anybody ever seen this illustration before, this map? Anybody know what this is?
No.
Yes, ma'am.
The blue zones are areas where people live to be over 100.
Yes, exactly. So I picked this example because one, I think we can learn something from the individuals who live in these 5 regions in the world considered the blue zones, where it's the highest concentration of centenarians, or so folks who live to be 100 or more. They also live significantly longer, of course, but they also live significantly healthier lives. All right. And when I was researching the blue zones, I initially found it on Netflix. It was super cool. And when I was researching it, there are some common threads between these 5 areas that I want to discuss with you guys. All right. So 5 lifestyle traits is what I call them. 5 lifestyle traits. Number 1 is alcohol. Now, some of y'all in the room might be thinking like, alcohol, Isaiah, like, how are you supposed to optimize if you're drinking alcohol? And then some of y'all might be thinking like, hey, you give me a drink or two, I'm actually pretty optimized. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm probably my best self. You know what I mean? But
I agree with it. Only
Yeah.
because I have trouble shutting my brain off.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have a hard time falling asleep. And so a lot of times
Yeah.
I'm functioning throughout the year off of 2-3 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
That's it. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's less. And so my doctor recommended that I have a glass of wine to relax me.
Yep.
And it works.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I don't have wine before bed, like if I fall asleep, I'm up in an hour and then I'm up and I go to work and the
Yeah.
next day I may only get 2 hours of sleep and I'm up.
Right.
So and I have a hard time shutting my brain off.
Mhm.
Like, you know, we deal with kids.
Yeah,
So I'm always
yeah.
strategizing and problem solving.
Yeah.
You know, from whatever hiccups happen throughout the day, from lessons, like, and it won't go off.
Right.
So wine, I can see that.
Yes.
And it'll help you relax.
Yep. So you just hit it on the head. It's wine, right? So what I'm talking about when I say alcohol specifically is red wine. There's a yeah, or burb, look, or burb. But in red wine, there's a compound in red wine, and it's called resveratrol, and basically it helps reduce your risk of heart disease. So 1 to 2 glasses of red wine is actually healthy for you, which is why they say like pregnant folks can actually drink a glass of red wine and it be, you know, it's okay, or it won't harm the child. It's actually pretty healthy for you. Secondly is diet. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Is there like a specific red wine that's healthier than others, or is it just regular?
I'm not much of a red wine connoisseur, but I think it's,
I know a couple.
yeah.
What's the most healthy? That's what I'm.
That's a good question. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, I would like to say that this compound is in all red wines, but I'm not 100% sure.
I think that I think that when it comes to either red or white wine, because that's just the standard name,
Yeah.
but there are like about 15, 20 variants of different red
Yeah,
wines.
yeah. You're absolutely right.
And so you would have to experiment with what you think tastes good.
Yeah.
That's the only way to do that.
Yes. Yep. No, that's good. Thank you. Secondly is diet. In these regions, the people live off of mostly plant-based diets, and they only eat until they're about 80% full. So they're practicing mindful eating. They're not just eating to be, you know, just to pig out or be full, but they're eating with awareness. And then they also save their last meal of the day as their smallest meal of the day. And they do eat meat, but it's on a celebratory basis. So maybe that might be once or twice a month, but for the most part, again, it's mostly a plant-based diet. Connection is a priority within these regions, and that could be because of culture, religious beliefs, etc. But it is a priority to be connected with your family and your close friends, which staves off feelings of depression and isolation. Physical activity is also one of the core traits in these areas. Farming, gardening, walking, daily household chores. By just walking every day, you reduce your risk of dementia and Alzheimer's. And this is the core trait that I want to focus on the most, and that is purpose. And 2 of these regions in Okinawa, Japan, and in Nicoya, Costa Rica, they refer to purpose as ikigai, or they refer to it as plan da vida, meaning why I get up in the morning, or reason to live. And as you get older, you sometimes may have those thoughts of like, what am I even doing anymore, right? But this allows these individuals in these areas to still feel needed. So, and I really like purpose because, again, I want you to all think about it from the perspective as an educator. What is your reason for getting up in the morning to educate our students of today? What is it? Why are you in this profession, right? Why did you choose to be in this? For a little bit of time, I believed that when I first got an education, I'm in this right now to get this check. I'm in this right now to just get paid, to build some skills, and then eventually down the line, I'll pivot. But now, especially after hearing Dr. Love, but from so many other people on my educational journey, I've realized that you need to show up with some passion. You need to show up with some engagement. You need to connect intentionally, and we'll get there, but you need to connect with the students that you're serving each and every day. So I want you to think about it. It's perfect. We got 6 people in the room, so everybody can pair up. But I want you to share with somebody in the room what gets you up in the morning. What is your ikigai? Okay? So I'm going to give you guys just a couple minutes, and I would love for you to just partner up and share what it is, and then just share out really quick. What's your ikigai? Yep. All right, guys, I'm gonna give you one more minute. One more minute.
Shaping, I think it's all shaping our future. Like, even if it's sharing with my heart,
All right, guys, start wrapping up. All right, guys, I would love to know what gets y'all up in the morning. What gets y'all out of bed each day? I would love to know. What you got? What you got?
So I said for me, it's just knowing that I don't have a choice but to be a generational curse breaker. And for me, being the eldest of several kids, cousins, and now having lost our matriarch, and my matriarch kind of putting the responsibility on me of keeping the family together.
Yep.
Knowing that at points we were homeless, we didn't have, I'm the constant, I make sure if anybody ever needs, they can come to me, so I don't have room to fall. So for me, I just have to keep going. I have to make sure I'm always open and amendable to, being the peacemaker, being the person who holds people accountable, because
Yeah.
you have to be able to have some place to come.
That's powerful. That's powerful. Thank you. Yeah.
it's gonna be hard.
It is a lot.
Yeah,
but
a lot
you
of pressure.
also have to learn a balance also on what you can control and can't control. And I've also learned I can't save everybody. I hope everybody is just here for those who want it. And if they
Yeah.
don't, then I gotta let them go.
Right. You don't got time to waste. Ain't no time to waste, right?
Only control me.
Thank you. Anybody else want to share? What gets you up in the morning? What gets you out of bed?
I said life.
Yeah.
I said life. Like
Yeah.
I was telling Miss Stephanie right here that like there was times where I remember like struggling and being like not being able to get out the bed because I had no reason to. But it's like even if I get up, get a bowl of cereal, go to work, I have a car, I have a job. There's life to be lived.
Yeah.
And I think that's what gets me out of bed.
That's right. That's right. Living, not just existing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Really living life to the fullest. You know what I mean? So I like that. Anybody else? Yep. Go ahead, man.
I'm a middle school ELA special ed teacher. And just basically working on improving their reading skills, especially comprehension. So both being able to read better and their comprehension.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about this new school year because I'm going to be looping with my kids that I had last year. So I was like, okay,
Nice.
so September's going to be
Nice.
almost a breeze.
Yeah.
It was always a struggle. The same kids. So I know them. So that's going to make it easier because I know exactly where they're at, where they left off at. Just got to keep moving them forward.
That's helpful. That's good. Well, I hope you get a good start to the year coming up here in the next month or so.
September is always.
It is, right?
I was like, okay, get my same kids, that's half the battle.
That's awesome. That's good. Well, thank y'all so much for sharing, man. And when things get tough, and which they always do, it's always great to be able to come back to that purpose, right? To just kind of refocus us and kind of give us that direction or that vision again on where we're headed. So really thank you all for, everyone who shared. Thank you. So we're going to move on to intentional connection, and same thing we did with internal optimization, intentional. Can somebody give me your definition of intentional? What's intentional? To do with purpose. To do with purpose. Yeah. Yep. Purposeful. Yep. Consistency. Yeah. Yeah. Doing it deliberately. You know what I mean? So one more time. Planning for. Yes. Planning for an aim, an objective that you're preparing for. Right. Connection. What's connection mean?
Well, the first thing I thought about was spiritual.
Okay. I love that.
Because sometimes, those random things that, although they really aren't that random,
Yeah.
things that come to you, then they come to you again.
Yeah.
That's trying to tell you something, and sometimes we're not tuned into that particular connection.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
It's bringing people and things together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Having a relationship with people.
I was just gonna say relationship.
Relationship. Mm-hmm. Relationship with people, relationship with things. I like that you mentioned the spiritual piece. And I think the way you open yourself up to receive that spiritual message is by optimizing here. You know what I mean? Internally, addressing the trauma, addressing the healing that needs to take place, right? And we'll come back to all of that. But yeah, so intentional connection, connecting with people deliberately, deliberate relationships with individuals. I think about this in a couple different ways, but I want to just kind of share an example from my job currently. So I work at a friend school, and a friend school is like Quaker Education. I'm brand new to it. Again, I just wrapped up my first year of being at this school, but it's very interesting on how Quaker Education works. They intertwine spirituality into education. You're taught to see the light in others, to see what their gift is, to see, what that gift is that they bring to the world. And they're taught as well to see it in you. So it's really helpful, especially when we're talking about race and ethnicity, because it's so easy to discount people based on how they look or who they come from or what culture they come from. But one thing that we do really well in Quaker communities is we have a Quaker process, and it's an intentional connection point where we sit in a room. If we're making a campus-wide change on dress code, or are we going to raise prices on a particular lunch item or something like that? I mean, some things as minuscule as that, we'll come together as a community, and everybody will have an opportunity to share their feedback or their thoughts, and those thoughts will be taken into account. No matter who you are on campus, you can be the custodian, you can be the lunch aide, you can be the head of school, but everybody's input has the same weight, which is beautiful. So if there are any people holding up the decision-making process, they'll put off this agenda item until the next meeting, which is like every month or every other month, right? And a decision won't be made until somebody decides, like, okay, I'm okay with this now. I'll let it go. I will allow it. There's verbiage for it and everything. I don't know it that well yet, but I'll allow this to pass, or I'll allow this to be decided on, even if it's not in my favor. So I really like the intentional connection that I see on a daily basis at my school. But I chose this example. Is anybody familiar with this photo? Anybody familiar with this? Ooh, wow, this is good. So nobody's familiar with this photo? Beautiful.
I always connect belief with Macy's Christmas.
Ooh, all right. Well, that's something. That's something. Yo, okay. So this is a show on Apple TV. It's called Ted Lasso. Anybody ever heard of Ted Lasso? You may have heard of it, but not seen it, right? So Ted Lasso, they follow this soccer coach. I'm an athletic director, so sorry, y'all. I'm like athletic pieces, right? But he is a American football coach, and he comes over to England to coach a soccer team. Now, this man knows nothing about soccer, but he accepts the job. The one thing that I appreciate about Ted Lasso and why he's a perfect example for intentional connection, although he has no idea from an X's and O's standpoint, this man connects like no other. I mean, he's so empathetic. He's genuinely kind. He has an optimism about him that's like almost toxic. But the guy connects with the front office folks just like he connects with managers or custodians around the building. So I want to show you all really quickly this clip from the show, and you'll see his lightheartedness. You'll see Ted and like how he's just so lovable of a guy. But he also drops a bar in this clip that's just like, man, it's like almost in a nutshell on how we should intentionally connect with people. Okay. All right, so Ted right now, he's in a high stakes dart game with one of the antagonists in the show. And you'll just see how he handles it. So here we go.
Rupert, guys have underestimated me my entire life. And for years, I never understood why. It used to really bother me. But then one day, I was driving my little boy to school, and I saw this quote by Walt Whitman. It was painted on the wall there. It said, "Be curious, not judgmental." And I like that. So I get back in my car, I'm driving to work, and all of a sudden, it hits me. All them fellas that used to belittle me, not a single one of them were curious. You know, they thought they had everything all figured out, so they judged everything. They judged everyone. And I realized that they're underestimating me. Who I was had nothing to do with it. Because if they were curious, they would ask questions. You know? Questions like, have you played a lot of darts, Ted? Which I would have answered, yes, sir. Every Sunday afternoon at a sports bar with my father from age 10 until I was 16 when he passed away. Barbecue sauce.
So, what did y'all take away from that? What did y'all take away from that message that he just gave us? Yes. Yes. That is the that right there, curiosity is what will allow us to really connect with our students, right? By being more curious. And we'll get into what we need to unlearn in order to be more curious, because there are some things in the way of us thinking clearly sometime when we think about our students and how to best serve them, right? There are definitely some biases. There are definitely some cookie cutter approaches. There are definitely some things in our lives, our own personal lives, that we need to unlearn so that we can be more curious about the people that we serve and the communities that we serve. Okay? So we're going to practice connecting. All right? We're going to practice connecting. So I bought these cards to connect more. They're called We Connect cards. You know, ironically enough, but I I bought these to connect with my team more and connect with the coaches that I serve. And they've been a hit. Like, we've actually had some really good conversations, and folks who typically don't interact with one another wind up coming out like can't stop talking. So I wanted to share these with you, and I wanted to go through this deck of cards, and feel free to choose any color, but I want us to connect. And what I mean by connect is I want us to listen with intent when we're connecting with the partner that we're getting ready to pair up with. And then also, you know, ask questions, right? Be curious, right? Be genuine, be a good listener. So I'm gonna pass these out, and I'm gonna pass one out. There's only 6 or 7 of us here. So I'm gonna pass one out to everyone in the room, and you just tell me, do you want a purple card, you want a green card, or a blue card? And that's the question that I want you to answer when it's your turn. Okay, cool. Man, purple, cool, I love it. Blue, got you. Just giving you a random one. So no guarantee is a good one. Purple, got you. Yep. Purple, got you. Yes, ma'am. Green, got you. And green, got you guys. All right, so pair up with someone. I'll give you a couple minutes. Answer your question with your partner. If you don't like your question, let me know, and I'll give you a different. You like your question?
No,
You don't like your question. Hey, respect.
You need to keep it.
Right. You might need to keep it there, right? You might need to keep it. Oh, this is a good question. This is a really good question.
So do we have to do the stretches on the back?
No, we won't do all that. We've already stretched. But so with those, while you're answering your question, it kind of just gives you something to talk about, or not talk about. I'm sorry, but it gives you something to do while you're chatting with your partner. So, but we don't have to today. Y'all don't have to get up and stretch. Yeah, no pressure.
Yeah, you picked the deep one, girl. Self-reflection.
I'm a lie. I know I'm a lie. So what I will say, being who I am, and what I think I will do, because I really think I'm a fun, lovable person, but I'm also someone who's very direct. I don't hold my tongue, I tell people the truth, but I have this last time to do it with my friend, and this all comes because I was sometimes not the best. So as a non-viewer, I've learned to just not say that. And especially on the top of looking at it, you know, change how you're feeling, that the middle of I would, because I'd be like, okay, why you still like this? Like, I would probably be, I mean, exactly, like, okay, you said for my confusion, well, why don't you make sure what makes you think? Like, I would be more curious. Because if you don't, so it's always like, oh, when my friend has these, like, she's like, I see why they're really like, so I'm like, I've done, like, the city did that, had it, and spread those on there. You do, but it makes you feel. Yeah, I can't remember. It was so strange.
All right, we got one more minute. One more minute, guys, and we'll bring it back in. All right. This is good. This is good. I almost don't want to interrupt. This is very good. We'll start bringing it back in, guys. We'll start bringing it back together, start bringing it back in. Good job connecting. Man, I can't lie. I actually did not want to disrupt y'all. Y'all was laughing, smiling. Y'all were engaged in the conversation, leaning in. I'm like, this is good. I didn't want to stop that. Yeah, Amazon. Look, Amazon. Yeah, We Connect cards, y'all. We Connect cards. I'm telling you, they've been a hit. I've done these with adults so far. Yep. I've just done these with adults just this past school year. Yeah. You might hand me that. Nah, not really. Honestly, like they want to talk and yeah. I haven't noticed anybody be shy about them. Thank you. Yep. Appreciate that. Yeah, yes, ma'am. All right, y'all. Let's keep it moving. So, when we're going to intentionally connect, there's some things, again, that we got to do less of, all right? And the first thing is we got to cut out the distractions. Distractions like cell phones, right? Y'all seen me pick up. Look, this thing right here, I love it to death. Technology is great. We got the world in the palm of our hands. We have all the information that we need. However, if we can talk to our cousin and our family member across the water, but at the same time, we are not taking advantage of the relationships of the people that we have right next to us. Okay, so get rid of the distractions. On average, an adult who uses a smartphone checks their phone 144 times a day. Sometimes you don't even get a ping. You're just like, ooh, let me just, you know what I mean? And pull it out and need to check it. So right. You feel like you felt a vibration or something like that. This watch is terrible. It's always buzzing and I'm always like, I got to check it. Right. But we got to cut out the distractions if we're going to connect with people intentionally. All right. Bias. You heard me mention bias. It's our assumptions based on stereotypes. Oh, you could dance. Look, you're a black woman. You could dance, right? You see, you know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that, right? It be the. Do people say that to you? Sorry if I hit it on the head. I'm sorry. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. People see me, they be like, you must coach or and they right. But like, it's at the same time, it's just like, wow, you could just look at somebody and just base it off a stereotype, right? So we need to take a page out of what Ted just told us, which is be more curious as opposed to being biased. And I understand that being biased sometimes, there's actually some good to it because it helps our thinking. Like our brain loves to find connections. So when we see things and we start to generalize things, some things may be true, but when it comes to building relationships with people, we can't rely on biases because everybody is an individual, right? We can't just generalize and say all black or all men or all women, right? We need to check these or all athletes, right? Thank you. Shout out. But we have to check these at the door. I actually have I was reading this book this summer called Original Sins. Check it out if you haven't. It just talks about the 2 original sins that started in America around education and how education was used to assimilate children of color, assimilate European immigrants into being more white. Basically being more like a white man, white woman, etc. And it also talks about how we were basically, and we're not, but we were basically deemed or viewed as unintelligent, incompetent. Of course, you know what I mean? Like as beasts. School was meant to civilize us more than anything, not to help us go be successful in life, but to civilize us, to have us sit in these seats in a straight line, recess, eating the foods, all of it. So, but I want to read this because this encapsulates what I'm trying to say about bias, and it involves the NFL, and that's why, again, it caught my attention. But the gospel of intellectual inferiority is normalized within our educational systems. In 2021, the Washington Post reported that after the NFL agreed in a class action settlement to pay out millions of dollars to former players diagnosed with dementia and other cognitive challenges stemming from football-induced brain damage, the firm the league hired to manage settlement payouts attempted to pay black players less money based on the use of racial normative adjustments, meaning they lowered the baseline because they assumed that we're inferior. And this is in 2021. Of use of racial normative adjustments, they assessed the impact of brain damage using a lower baseline, reflecting the presumed inferiority of these players' normal brain function. In dollars and cents, black brains were worth less. Okay? And they did most of the work on the field, right? Right?
Who wrote that book?
This book is by Eve L. Ewing.
Say that again?
Eve L. Ewing. Yes, ma'am. Yep.
Doing with the E.
Yes, with a E. Yep. Amazing book. Oh my gosh, it's going to open up your eyes to education and how it all got started. And we'll get into a little bit more. I got another excerpt I want to share with you about this book. But cookie cutter approaches is another thing that we need to do less of. I learned very early on in my educational career that rarely are things just black and white. Like there's a lot of gray to a lot of situations, especially our students and especially where they come from and who they come from and their family dynamics, etc. Which is why we need to be more culturally responsive teachers, right? What do I mean by culturally responsive teachers? I'm sure you may have heard the term before, but this is teaching our students to the customs, the characteristics, and the culture in which they come from, the experiences, the environment in which they come from. Another excerpt from this book that I read that I just loved, and not loved, but it blew my mind was in 1917, the US Army were rolling out these tests, these standardized tests. It was the first real standardized test in the country in 1917. They were called alpha beta tests, and they were used to weed out the unintelligent and incompetent recruits as opposed to the intelligent and competent recruits. Majority of the recruits at this time was right before World War I were black men from the South or European immigrants. So they're taking these tests, and during this time as well, these people did not have the same schooling as the people who were creating the tests. So they came from a completely different cultural repertoire. So what do you think happened to these black people from the South, black men from the South, and European immigrants? They were deemed unintelligent because of the content that were on these standardized exams did not reflect where they came from or their experiences. And this is what we need to be super mindful of, dependent on our demographics that we're teaching. We need to be mindful of the content, of the language, of the worksheets, of the whatever it is that we're using to our instruction. We need to use culturally responsive teaching toward our students. Go ahead.
I feel like that word is, this term is overused,
Mm.
not like applied
Mm-hmm.
the way that it needs to be. Like the school that I work at, my principal is all for this culturally responsive teaching, but like we're still teaching in a cookie cutter manner.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know like how to approach this in a way where it works
Mm-hmm.
for my class
Right.
this upcoming year, because right now like I'm moving into a different position, so instead of me being a fourth grade ELA teacher, I'll be a fourth grade tier 3
Mm-hmm.
middle school tier 3 intervention for ELA.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm curious. Yeah. No. I want to hear from you all.
I'm no longer in the classroom, but I did teach for 16 years. I'm NJA staff now, so sorry, I'm multitasking because I still
Oh, gotcha. Yep. All good.
I want to share that when it comes to culturally responsive teaching in your classroom, your curriculum might be the same, but the way you teach doesn't have to be.
right.
And the difference in culturally responsive teaching is not your principal allowing the space for it, it's how you decide to deliver the content.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
the issue is sometimes it takes time and creativity to plan out how you can be more culturally responsive, because someone who's a culturally responsive teacher, it's not going to necessarily be easy for you, because you got to think about this boring book and how you can make that engaging for your kids. So it does take more time, it takes more effort, it takes more planning. But once you put certain practices into place, it becomes easier over time.
Yeah.
So for me, for example, we turn lessons into songs all the time. Our kids love to sing.
Mm.
Take a lesson, make them write songs about a the classroom. You can have them write poems about different things. When it comes to the math, give them items and like make them do real life hands. Like it's literally just taking the book or taking those lessons and finding a way to have them connect with it. And you know, our kids love music, our kids love drawing, our kids love to move around. Gamify
Yep.
stuff for them, make it a game. Let them go to four corners and answer questions instead of raising their hands. If it's yes, no, maybe, or whatever, put that in the corners. Like it's really just about your approaches and not really the content. Because if you make the way they're learning the content fun, it's fun. But if you just sit there and talk and dictate to them all day, they're gonna be bored and fall asleep, just like
Right.
we do as teachers.
Right.
Like we sit, and if it's somebody boring and we're not engaged, we're gonna be sitting here doing
Yep.
this too, because we're just like them. But if you make it engaging, we get to talk to each other, we get to answer questions. Now you got people engaged.
That's a good point.
It's all in the way you do it.
That's a good point. Yeah. Thank you.
That's
Thank you
just
for
my
sharing that.
15 years of expertise.
Right. Yeah. No, that's good. Does anybody else experience this in their schools or don't experience it at all? You know, with your children in your classrooms and things like that? You guys all are experiencing culturally responsive teaching or engaging in it, engaging in it yourself.
And I look at, okay,
Good.
where can I do this?
Yeah.
I wanna do this.
Yep.
Like, for example, I said I'm a special ed teacher.
Yes, ma'am.
December is Disability Awareness Month. So I said, okay, guys, we're gonna pick a person with a disability. You're gonna learn about them. You're
Right.
gonna do a mini research project on their life.
Right.
You're gonna present it orally to the class.
Right.
I loved it. No, they learned about people who they never heard of.
Yeah.
Because you don't hear too much about people with disabilities doing great things.
Right.
So
And you
I
know
said,
That's a
another
good
layer
point.
to
That's a
that?
really good point.
Another layer to that for the students, let them be judges. Give them a paper.
Yes.
Because I do that for my students. Anytime I have a presentation, I don't sit there and be the only one listening. They have to write down notes, and they also then have to give like between 1 and 5 stars, and they get to give that feedback. And they don't get to be mean. It has to be give one positive impact, one thing they could have did better, and they write their name at the end. We collect it and give it to the student. They get to keep it so they can self-reflect. So little things like that make the kids more engaged, and they'll pay attention. It takes away from behavior issues as well.
If I could just add, I remember having first grade and we had disabilities week. I don't remember exactly when it was, and even in a gen ed class, like I did movies like Finding Nemo. Nemo had a short fin and he had a disability. I did Spider-Man, like, and it was different things to relate to the kids.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
at that young age, he was bit. Peter Parker was bit by a spider, and then he had these abilities where, like, the rest of the school didn't think. They was like, "Oh my God, how did you think about that?" But you not only teach the kids, but then you also interact with your peers, and you get them to thinking differently. But then it opens up another conversation
Right.
for the students.
Right.
You know, like we have disability people that's amongst us, and you can't tell. You know, but this is why you have to get to know a person for themselves, because they can still be with you and still do really great things with you and for you. You know, so I love that though.
Man. Thank you all for sharing. Thank you for that input. So listening is another thing that we need to do more of. When I'm in my mentorship groups with the young children up in Trenton, New Jersey, one thing that I've learned is if I just ask them questions, they are so excited to just respond and tell me what they like to do. Like, hey, what do y'all like to do for fun? What do you like to eat? What's your favorite song right now? And they just go crazy, and just blurt out loud noises, whatever it is. But you learn so much. You learn so much about what their interests are. And if you do this intentionally, if you do this on purpose, you can build that relationship and build that bridge with you and your students, right? So we need to do more listening. I know a lot of people who like to talk, but don't do a lot of listening sometimes. Engagement. And again, what I seen you all doing when we did our We Connect activity, you all were super engaged with one another. Again, like there was noises, I seen smiles, I seen excitement. We need to engage more with our students. We need to meet them with that energy that they meet us with every single day, right? We need to ask those questions. We need to be present with them, be engaging. So here are our tools. Again, here are our tools: internal optimization and intentional connection. Guess what? You don't need approval to do these. You don't need a signature. You don't need anybody to sign off on, hey, can I internal optimize? Hey, can I connect intentionally with something? No, you can apply these today. You can apply these as soon as September hits and the school year kicks off, right? So let's be intentional. And again, you have to ask yourself those questions, those hard questions. What is it about me that I need to do differently? How do I become the best version of myself? How do I walk in my purpose even more effectively as an educator, as a leader in my community? We have to ask ourselves those hard questions, and then we need to do the work. You all are doing the work. You're here today. You're at a conference in the summertime. I've never been to a conference in the summertime. This is my first time. But it's you doing the work. It's you learning on how you can be a more effective and inclusive teacher and educator, right? So great job. Intentionally connecting deliberate relationships, right? Deliberate relationships, apply to listening, be curious, right? Be present, put the phones down so that we can connect more with our students and connect more with the students or the communities that we serve, all right? I just want to show you really quick this photo of some of the communities that I've been a part of, going back to Christina Sykes, the school down in North Carolina, Cannon School. I'm in every one of these somewhere. You'll find me somewhere. But I just wanted to say that internal optimization and intentional connection transcend race, ethnicity, economic status. If you show up with emotional intelligence, and you connect with people and you see people for who they are as a human being, black, white, doesn't matter, I guarantee you what will be given back to you, that energy that you give them will be reciprocated back to you. They will want to connect with you more. They will want to buy into whatever instruction that you're giving out to the classroom. If they feel included in that, if they feel like they're connected to it and they belong in it, they will give back, and they will give back tenfold. Do y'all understand what I'm saying to you? So, and that's why I just want to show you this photo. Every community that I've been a part of, I take the time to listen. I take the time to ask questions. Doesn't matter if the kids look like me or not. I've made lifelong relationships with these individuals. I just watched his lacrosse game this spring at Rutgers. He plays for St. John's. His grad party is coming up in 2 weeks. I just was at his a couple weeks ago, and he was there, and so on and so forth, right? So like, these are lifelong relationships with people because I've done the work on myself to heal from trauma that I had to work through from my family, etc. And I've optimized, and I'm not there yet. I'm not perfect, but I'm on the journey. I'm taking the steps. I'm becoming more self-aware. And then again, I'm connecting with these individuals on an individual level, in an intentional way, okay? So I would just want to leave you with this quote. We read this first quote right here in the beginning of our presentation. We can't change the world until we change ourselves. So now I just want to frame it from the positive perspective, because if we change ourselves, we change the world. All right. Thank you all so much for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Here's my contact information if anyone ever wanted to follow up after this, my LinkedIn, my email, my work cell phone number. And then this right here is a QR code that will take you to my speaker resume. Again, I do mentorships outside of my 9 to 5. So if anyone was ever interested in partnering at some point, I would love to. So thank you all. Yes.
What program do you partner with in Trenton?
Right now I'm partnering with the Grant School, a middle school in Trenton, and Joyce Kilmer School. And I've done a little bit of work as well with Village Charter School in Trenton, New Jersey as well. Yeah, that's my stomping grounds. That's where I grew up. So I have the most connections there. Any questions on anything?
Mentoring,
Yes, ma'am.
When you say that, you mean like in a capacity through like public schools, or you do like individual mentoring for people? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so I do it in the capacity of public schools. I basically started this business called The Connected, and it started with me creating a men's group, a men's group for Black men. I always waited for opportunities to come up for me to join and find community, especially amongst Black men. So I just told myself, why not just start it? And I did that, and I've had some great buy-in and support from my friends, from peers, and then also just the peers of my wife and her telling her girlfriends to tell their husbands to come and things like that. And as I've done more learning and researching around how important it is for us men to have community, I've learned how much our boys need it. And our boys are struggling in public school settings because they don't have the representation that young ladies have, right? A lot of them don't feel like they belong. A lot of them don't have that role model to look up to, especially a man of color. So that's when I started seeking opportunities to partner with schools and to be present in those spaces. Like I work with a young man right now, and there's other peers in the space as well, but this young man, Taquay, and he's the only boy, he's the only black boy, let me be honest. He's the only black boy, and the rest of the students are all Hispanic. And so he and I, like, we connect on a little bit of a different level, and I go out of my way to make sure he's good and he's like solid. I don't believe his father, I haven't been around him enough, but I don't believe there's a male role model in his life. So I could tell it's a slippery slope with him, but mostly with schools and also adults, and then also adult males too.
I
Yeah.
asked because I have a 19-year-old son.
Okay.
And I'm looking for a mentor for him.
Yeah.
So I actually am in the process of starting my own nonprofit.
I love it. I love it.
So
Yeah.
I was going to try to do like seasonal seminars
Yeah.
or like sessions where I have a bunch of black men and men of color who
Man.
I have personal connections with that I've already kind of like asked that they would be willing to help out, and they are, but it's a lot, and I
Yeah.
don't have the capacity, so
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out what works. So I'm thinking of maybe just doing a seminar once a year to get started.
Okay.
And see how it goes, but I was just curious because I'm looking for someone to
Absolutely
Yeah.
amazing,
Yeah.
wonderful, awesome.
Yeah. Right.
great. Like,
Yep.
he has his own struggles.
Yeah.
And, it's been rough. He's going through his own stuff right now.
I hear that. Well, I'm having an event on August 16th, Saturday, August 16th, and this is for the men. And I'm gonna ask you all to write your email down on your way out. So I'll send you information if you want to pass the flyer on to him, and if he wants to come down here to South Jersey and be a part of it, he's more than welcome. It's an inviting space, and a lot of these men, again, similar to me, don't have much community outside of their children or their wife. So men are really like, they get pretty enthusiastic or just passionate about being in a space with other men and being able to share and be honest about how they feel about certain things. So yeah. So he doesn't have a choice. There it is. He don't have a choice. He don't have a choice. There it is. That's a part of your job. That's your responsibility, right? So you're gonna leave with something. He will. He definitely will. We pour into each other for sure. So yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. So on your way out, if you don't mind, if you could just write your email down. I left some note cards over there, and I'll email you all a survey if you don't mind. I just would love your feedback whenever you all get a chance. So
And you don't have a flyer, you're gonna send us the flyer?
for the men's,
event?
yeah, absolutely. I'll email it to you. Yes, I will. Yep. Yes, ma'am. Hey. He goes, Grant, you don't talk what? Wow. Ain't that something? What? I do.
His mother and his sister were murdered. Wow. Yeah, so please check on him.
Wow, man.
Much you can check my glasses.
Yeah. Is he 6th grade, 5th grade? What is he?